That's celebration music, everybody, because we had ourselves a perfect night. 10 fights, 10 finishes, and just when we thought the finish streak might come to an end, we headed to the championship rounds in the main event. Jamahal Hill closes the show and is a perfect 10 for 10. First time this has happened since 2014. Second time ever. And the card that it happened on was headlined by Luke Rockhold knocking out Michael Bisping in 2014. But hey, listen, sometimes these cards on paper don't look the best, and they deliver on fight night, and that's exactly what happened here. Great win for Jamahal Hill, great win for a lot of other people. We have two new tough champions, which I'm sure AK will be thrilled to talk about. But thank you for joining us. I am Mike Heck. José Youngs is here as well, the traveling machine. Hello there. I have so many questions about the Sandman, but we'll have to save that for another time. AK
Sure.
Lee is in the building following this Tough 30 finale. And EKC Lyden on the ones and twos. We'll hear from him. There he is. We'll hear from him a little bit later as we go to your questions. But Jose, let's begin with you, my man. Jamahal Hill comes in, a lot of hype. A lot of people were kind of writing Thiago Santos off. Thiago Santos, I thought, had a pretty smart game plan tonight. He made Jamahal Hill work a little bit. In fact, two of the judges had Thiago Santos up 29-28 heading into that fourth round. One judge had it 29-28 for Jamahal Hill. Your thoughts on Jamahal Hill's performance and just the fight in general, because the fight was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess Thiago Santos' game plan wasn't what I expected, but it was the right game plan, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm going to put a game plan together against Jamahal Hill, who hits really hard and puts people, like, his nickname is really like what? Sweet Dreams, because he puts people to sleep. If I'm going to formulate a game plan for him, it's going to be to kind of take him off his feet and push him against the fence and take him down and just take him out of his element. Thiago Santos was doing the best he could. Jamahal Hill had pretty good takedown defense. Thiago Santos was still, I had him up 2 rounds. I think we said the judges had him up 2 rounds too, like you said. Was it 1 and 3 for Santos and then 2 for Jamahal Hill? I would agree with that. So good game plan. Jamahal Hill obviously cheated with the fence grab. Herb Dean didn't see that. Kicked Thiago Santos in the groin and then put them in a neutral position rather than, the advantageous position that Thiago Santos had before getting kicked in the groin. So some things should have gone Thiago Santos' way that clearly didn't. But Jamahal Hill, I mean, his cardio wasn't great. He looked pretty exhausted too, as we saw in his post-fight interview. He could barely string a sentence together without running out of breath. Thiago Santos literally fell over. He was so tired in that fourth round. So I won't say Jamahal Hill's cardio was better. It just wasn't as bad as Thiago Santos for this. I think that's the way I would put it. But it was a really good game plan for Santos as long as it lasted. His body just failed him at the end, not because of damage he was taking, but because he just got exhausted. And Jamahal Hill was just slightly less exhausted and capitalized on it. And this is a sport. That's the game. And he won fair and I won't say fair and square because he did cheat. He just didn't get caught, but he won. And the light heavyweight division has a new title challenger around the corner.
Yeah, everybody seemed to react to that. Eric Nixick, of course, reacted to it and was like, hey, next time my fighter's in a bad position, I'm just going to have him knee him in the groin, get into a neutral position. And, of course, I tagged in my buddy Jed, and I was like, what do we learn here, Jed? Always cheat because it's never going to get called, and there's never any repercussions. But, AK, you're a man of rules. Rules rule for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the man who ruled the night at the end was Jamahal Hill. So your thoughts on his performance, and, we'll talk matchmaking tomorrow, but are you completely sold on this guy right now after this performance? Or are you just listen, great win, but boy, we got some work to do here.
Yeah, it's exactly the fight he needed at this kind of stage of his career. He fought a really tough veteran, a veteran that was willing to mix some martial arts, mix things up, fight in an unexpected way. But he got some of this. He saw some of the striking of Thiago Santos. He saw a lot of the wrestling of Thiago Santos. This is what he needed. How old is Jamahal Hill? Jamal's 31, I think. 31, something there, right? 31, and very, very young into his career. Though only started fighting, turned pro 2017. So yeah, listen, he's gonna need these experiences. If anything, getting a fight like this against a guy like Thiago Santos, a one-time UFC World Title challenger, a guy who took John Jones to the limit in your 13th pro bout, I mean, and then to get the win, to gut out a win, even though it wasn't going his way on a couple of the scorecards, that's impressive. That's impressive. I like the Jan Blachowicz call out. I think it might be a little too soon for that, but if he gets it, you're not going to complain. If you're his team, I mean, you love that fight. You're just going to go for it for sure. So, not a bad call out at all. I still think that we can take him a little bit slow, but it's gonna be hard because he is. I think in our rankings, he'll still be just outside the top 10, probably. I'm not sure what you guys are thinking, but we'll see when the next ranking cycle comes around. And the UFC rankings, though, yeah, he's going to be in the top 10, and obviously that's how they what's really going to matter to the matchmakers. So, but yeah, I did not think it was like a bad performance by him at all. Got a little sloppy. He was in danger in some parts. He lost rounds, showed some deficiencies with the wrestling. That's okay. That's okay. But we are very young in the Jamahal Hill experience so far. We've seen a lot of them in a short amount of time, but I don't think he's near as good as he's going to be. So, no major issue with the performance. Good for him for getting that win, and credit to Thiago Santos for putting on, I think, the best effort we've seen from him for a while.
Yes, it was. Yeah, you're right. I think it was exactly the fight Jamahal Hill needed, and I mean, I liked where he went with the call out. I mean, listen, Jose, I totally get where you're coming from. He's tired. He just went through a war. You're not going to get on the mic and go crazy. I mean, Conor McGregor did after the second Nate Diaz fight, but then he comes out and just, I loved what he said at the end. Y'all got to let that experience stuff go. Y'all ain't ever experienced nobody like me. I've seen plenty like y'all, though. I love that. That was fantastic stuff. Do you think he gets the Blachowicz fight, Jose?
No.
Do you think it's maybe too soon? What are you thinking for him?
I don't think. I think it is too soon in terms of how everything's going to play out, because if it just depends on what the title fight's going to be. If it's going to be Yuri Glover, then you got Ankalaev's in there and you got Jans in there. So if they want to fight, so be it. If they want to wait around, so be it. But I think it might be a little too soon. I just if he does fight Jan, it'll be by process of elimination, because like Ankalaev probably won't fight until he gets a title fight. Ratchik is hurt and Anthony Smith is hurt. Dom Reyes isn't back yet. And then I guess you could fight Dominic Reyes, but will the UFC match him up with him? Do they want to risk Dominic Reyes losing a fourth fight in a row? And I assume if he loses to Jamahal Hill, it'll be violently. So that would be 3 straight violent losses. So if he gets the Jan fight, it'll just be by process of elimination. But I personally think it's a big step up. But if that's the fight, that's the fight. There's still other fights I would like to see him fight. Like I know Dustin Jacoby has that fight coming up. I know Jed said I wouldn't mind that fight, but that might not make sense ranking wise. Just like the light heavyweight division, all those 2 injuries to Smith and Ratchik, and then the title picture just kind of clogs everything up. So he might have to fight backwards if he wants to stay active.
Yeah, I feel like Reyes might be sort of the last man standing in this domino series right now. I think Jan was like, if he went out there, just bolted Thiago in the first round and got him out of there, like a lot of people thought he would, and then he went on the mic and just cut a good promo, I think he had a chance to get the Jan fight. But I think Jan Magomed Ankalaev is the fight, and this is not a bad thing at all for Jamahal Hill.
He could fight the winner of Ozdemir and Krylov, I guess.
Yeah, that's not a bad one either. It just depends. I mean, he's probably going to have to sit for a little bit because that was a grueling ass fight. But good for him. Oh, by the way, no, apparently he's fighting. He's going to be fighting August 20th at welterweight, because I don't know if you guys saw the graphic on the UFC broadcast with the upcoming events. Jamahal Hill's going to be fighting Kamaru Usman in place of Leon Edwards. Apparently, that's why you're the best. That's why you're the best of the game. Poor Leon Edwards, man. The guy just can't catch a break. So
I mean, he's fighting for a world title. I think he's just fine right now.
Yeah, that's good. You're just flying under the radar a little bit more. So great win for Jamahal Hill. We'll see where he goes from here. But AK, Geoff Neal. Geoff freaking Neal.
He regained his name.
Okay, go ahead. Go off on that. I was just going to ask you that. Did he officially regain the
He is Geoff Neal again. Yeah, the Ponzinibbio win was nice, but it wasn't like the most, it wasn't the greatest performance. But I mean, tough win, obviously, against a veteran. But boy, everyone was saying it. Mike, you were saying on Twitter today, maybe the best Geoff Neal we've ever seen. And right in the first round, we were like, that might be the best round he's ever fought. And he didn't let up. He just kept up, put the pressure on against a guy who is normally the one who's putting all the pressure on their opponent in Vicente Luque. Outstanding striking, just great patience, picked his spots well, did not, again, when he had Luque hurt from the beginning, and just knew when to, not to do just enough, not to get caught, because he knows that he had respected Luque. He knew he was dangerous. But man, when the time came to really just put it away, in the third round, man, just a bunch of uppercuts, big left hand. It was awesome. It was awesome. You had, Mike said, you'd said before the fight, like, Neal, very logical upset pick. I don't know if he was your favorite upset pick, but I think you definitely made sure to point that out when we were asked for who were the intriguing underdogs on the pre-fight Q&A. And I know you definitely mentioned Geoff Neal. Yeah, Neal is a talent, man. This was his I'll say his 9th UFC fight. He's had a couple of stumbles against ranked opponents. That's fine. It happens to everyone. But he's got some big wins too. Bilal Muhammad on there, as he mentioned, and of course now Vicente Luque tonight. So we also said before, who needed this win more? And we said, Luque, it's going to be really tough for him to be a contender again, or to be viewed as a contender if he drops this one. And especially the way he dropped it tonight, I think getting pretty thoroughly beaten by Geoff Neal. Big climb back for Luque. But Neal, I mean, you can tell me that you tell me this guy's 2 fights away from a title shot. I'm all in. I really believe it.
Yeah, tremendous performance. And I know we didn't have you on the preview show, Jose, but I'm sure this is the one, like everybody else, you had circled on this card in terms of high-level martial arts and the potential for violence. And this one certainly delivered, but Geoff Neal was the one who out-violencing basically the welterweight king of violence. Your thoughts on Geoff Neal's performance, and good night for Fortis MMA, was it not?
Yeah, seriously. It's been a good couple weeks for Fortis MMA, but yeah, Geoff Neal has never looked better. And I don't know, and I don't want to take anything away from his performance, but Vicente Luque's strategy was very strange to just kind of stand there squared up. Geoff Neal didn't need to kick. He didn't need to do any takedowns. He just jabbed and punched Vicente Luque until Vicente Luque his body just fell apart against the fence. So strange strategy for Vicente Luque, but good on Geoff Neal for taking advantage of that. Like, Vicente Luque just looked square and boxed up, and there was just like this big target between his hands that was like, punch me in the face, please. And Geoff Neal did that a lot until Vicente Luque just collapsed. So good on Geoff Neal for high fight IQ to just take advantage of that opening, and I guess poor fight IQ on Vicente Luque's part for not adjusting the game plan and, closing up his defense a bit. But Vicente Luque is also tough as hell. Like I'm surprised he got out of the first round, let alone make it to the third round. So his toughness showing through. Just Geoff Neal just hits really freaking hard. His name is Hands of Steel for a reason. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah, tremendous performance. So let me ask you, Jose, where does Geoff Neal go from here? He calls out Gilbert Burns. I actually dug the call out a lot. He goes, hey, listen, I'm going to be number 6. You're Vicente's teammate. Essentially, here's your chance to get one back for your guy. I think the fight makes a lot of sense. I mean, I liked the call out. Do you feel like he's going to get a fight like that? Is that possible for him after this performance?
I don't think so. I think Gilbert Burns is probably going to fight. Like, Gilbert Burns is trying to fight Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal is trying to fight Conor McGregor. Colby Covington's nowhere to be seen. Hamzat is fighting a guy that's unranked. So the top 5 of the welterweight division is just silly right now. So I guess, like, who do you give him? Like, the winner of Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady? Like, he already has a win over Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad tweeted, I've never lost to anything twice in my life. So I'm sure if the division is so clogged up, from my experience interacting with MMA fighters, they don't normally mind rematching a guy that beat them because they want that win back. Now, if Bilal Muhammad has moved on, so be it. But Sean Brady is what, 10th, 11th in our ranking, so he would make sense. So maybe the winner of that, he's already lost to Stephen Thompson, right? If I remember correctly, or am I thinking of the Vicente Luque?
Yeah,
fight?
he lost.
No, they both have. Yeah, they both
lost. So I don't know. The top of the welterweight division just needs to get their act together so we can get fun fights. But again, it's like light heavyweight, just process of elimination. Last man standing might just be the winner of Bilal Muhammad and Sean Brady. Or hell, I'll watch him fight Daniel Rodriguez whenever he comes back. That sounds like a fun fight.
Well, I will say there's another very popular name that has been thrown out there. I don't like it as much as the Gilbert Burns one. I actually think Gilbert makes sense because Gilbert's game is hell. And if Gilbert's going to fight by the end of the year, I feel like Geoff Neal's his best shot because I just don't think unless like this whole thing with Masvidal gets cleared up in the next couple of weeks, which it may happen, but it may not. There it is, AK. There it is. A lot of people want to see Geoff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Yeah, I got some. It's in my DMs. It's in my DMs. A lot of people. I don't know. Might be the way they have to go.
Doesn't Kevin Holland have a win over Geoff Neal on the regional scene?
He sure does.
Right. Yeah.
Would not mind running that one back in the UFC.
Yeah.
Double Texas boys.
You want to put Kevin and Geoff Neal on that September 10th card? Go right ahead. Like put a welterweight fight on that card, please. Yeah. Someone like that we would want to see fight. I know that these guys, AK, somewhat train together, but I feel like Luque might be the guy that Shavkat's going to have to fight next at this point. Like, Luque has already said that even though they have trained together from time to time at Sanford MMA, he would fight Shavkat. Like he has said that before. I feel like this is what's going to happen. Do you think that? Because what do we do with Luque now? He's in a really tough spot after the second loss.
I mean, honestly, listen, I think you ignore the rankings. I don't think he needs to fight anyone in the top 15. I really don't. I think the two losses, if anything, kind of liberate him from any rankings talk. It sucks. If you're him, of course you want to fight some of the rankings. You want to get a win and get back in that title talk. But it's like we said, I don't know if the matchmakers are going to view him that way. I said with a loss, I certainly wouldn't. I think he's certainly a top 15 talent, but he does not need to keep fighting top 15 guys. Let me take a quick look at my rankings here. Who do I he's almost like a fun fights guy now. It sounds bad. I like the Daniel Rodriguez suggestion that Jose just threw out there. I don't know. Li Jingliang. Like, I just think there's a lot of fun fights for him. And I don't know. Sure. I don't know if he needs to worry about what fight keeps me in title contention. It really sucks to say because we all want to see it. We all think he's put in the work. I mean, he won 4 straight, 5 straight, 9 out of 10 at one point. Probably deserves a title shot over guys like Jorge Masvidal, who or whatever win streak that got him a title fight. It's who you beat. His biggest win is Chiesa. Tyron Woodley, well past his best before date, unfortunately, and now he's got these 2 losses. So yeah, I don't know. If he gets Shavkat, sure, I'm sure he'd do it. Like I said, whether they train together or not, it's a great fight for him to get. But I just hope they put him in a fun fight. Let's see if we can rebuild him that way, and maybe he can sort of accidentally trip it back into title talks in the future. But I don't think that needs to be a concern for him or his team right now.
Kevin Holland or Daniel Rodriguez would fit well in that other spot as well. So, I mean, there are plenty of fun fights for him. We will see what happens. But AK, I will turn it on over to you because the Tough 30 finale went down. There it is. The Tough 30 People's Post-Fight Show. Here we are, AK. We have 2 new tough champions. Mohammad Usman, the big underdog, gets it done. Brutal knockout. And Juliana Miller cashes as a favorite. Gets it done. So basically, and I listened to No Bets Barred, by the way.
No, did
if
you?
Anybody took your advice? No. I did not. But if anybody took your advice, they lost a bunch of money. So your thoughts on how these 2 fights played out? Who impressed you more? What are you thinking?
A few things here. First of all, let me address a broader point here that I see in the comments. People saying like, "Oh, you guys owe this card an apology," and it's like for like saying,
"Oh God, no."
I'm just very briefly, guys. The card looked bad on paper. If you think the card looks good on paper, just type right now. There's no such thing as a bad UFC card on paper, and that's fine. If you love the UFC and you think like every card deserves to be, judged for, shouldn't be judged until after it's over, that's fine. That's fine. But if we're doing previews of a card and we have to say some cards look good, some cards look bad, this card looks really bad. If you predicted 10 finishes, you're a friggin' genius. All right, you predicted like one of the most surprisingly exciting cards of the year, but. Come on now, guys. The card's bad on paper. We're not apologizing for that. I am going to apologize for my Ultimate Fighter advice because, like as you mentioned, it was brought up on No Bets Barred. I was not actually on No Bets Barred. I had consulted Jed, the esteemed Jed Michoud, before they recorded that episode, and I said, yeah, like Brogan Walker, more experience. She's got a win over Miranda Maverick. She's fought Erin Blanchfield. It didn't look that great against her, but she's fought better competition. Juliana Miller, only 3 pro bouts. She looked better in the house, sure. But I'm like, I think experience is going to matter. And Zach Paga looked much better than Mohammad Usman in the house. Mo Usman has kind of like, been one of those guys who people have been waiting for a long time for him to break through. It hasn't quite happened, so perhaps I had given up on that. So I was like, Paga, Brogan Walker, mark it down. Those are my picks for the Ultimate Fighter finales. I watched hours of this show. I'm one of the only people who watch this show. Surely the time I spent watching this show gives me some sort of insight into who's going to win these fights. Sure enough, Juliana Miller, third round TKO, and Mohammad Usman, highlight reel knockout of Zach Paga. Listen, I stand by the analysis. I was super wrong. So I will. Yes, if I'm going to apologize for anything, it's not judging the quality of the card. It's definitely judging who was going to win these fights. I think I don't have it written down anywhere. I think I have a pretty bad record actually of picking Ultimate Fighter finales. I probably should have mentioned that at some point. Some scenes are really easy, especially some of the recent ones. But if you go back, there was a stretch there. I must have picked like 6 or 7 seasons in a row. I must have picked like one winner out of however many tough tournaments they had during those seasons. So yeah, listen, I had my reasons. They made sense on paper. I didn't know Brogan Walker was going to try and win a clinch battle that she couldn't win. That's fine. Listen, she knows more about fighting than I do. She thought that was going to work. It didn't work. It happens. And I did not know that Mo Usman was going to explode like that, because I think Zach Paga won the first round pretty clearly. I thought we were going to see 3 rounds of that. But hey, great job by Usman, man. Landed a beautiful shot and put Paga right out.
One judge actually scored the first round for Usman, which was pretty interesting. And by the way,
it wasn't overwhelming for Paga, but yeah.
Yeah. And for those who are saying you owe this card an apology, stop it. Because if you watch, like if you're an NFL fan and there's a Thursday night football game and it's the freaking Falcons and the Texans, like that game sucks on paper. It's a horrible football game on paper. And if they go out and just have a slugfest and play and score 100 points total, like it doesn't change the fact that the two teams and that on paper are not like very good. Like it's just not a great matchup if it's the only game to watch. And we're all going to watch it anyways because we're football fans, and we're all going to watch all these cards because we're MMA fans, but some cards are better than others. This one delivered. It's nice to overexceed expectations.
Yeah,
I covered a Bellator card in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The card was not good. It was god awful on paper. Every fight was finished. And as a person in the building, it was entertaining and fun to watch, but it didn't take away from the fact that on paper, it wasn't going to keep everybody in on a Saturday night to watch fights when they could have gone out and done other things. That's all we were saying. We're not dumping on the fighters or anything like that. Just, This was the lineup. We're coming off 2 pretty solid cards back to back, coming off of a pay-per-view. It's not easy to do what the UFC does when you have to fill these spots. But if a card is not tremendous on paper, we are allowed to say that it's not tremendous on paper. And now we're all happy, overexceeded expectations. So let's leave that garbage alone.
Yeah. To dwell on the positive, it's a really fun card. Turned out to be a fun card. Let's focus on that. It was fun. Great.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw some great highlights. So there you go.
Yeah, but don't play the you owe this card an apology, because guess what? You were saying the same thing yesterday and the day before.
No,
and the
Mike,
day
what do you
before
mean?
That.
No, what do you mean? We got a lot of geniuses in the comments who are like, "Oh, I knew this card."
Oh, I told you.
I knew it was
You're
gonna be 10
full of
finishes.
Okay,
all right.
Crap.
All right. I'm my
Just
best friend. Come on.
Okay. Do we have bonuses yet? I haven't seen them. I don't know if anyone's seen them. We will let you know what they are when they come out. But I have not seen the bonuses yet. As soon as they come out, we will let you know. But great win for Sergey Spivak. He looked real good. He just brutalized Augusto Sakai from start to finish. But let's talk about Terrance McKinney, Jose. This guy, we talked a lot about him on the People's Pre-Fight Show. He's just doing everything right. All his fights are awesome. His finishes are great. Even his losses are fantastic to watch. And just everything this man is doing on social media, he's getting a little bit of a promotional push, but everything this guy has earned, he has done by himself. And it's been pretty damn impressive to watch how popular this guy gets on his own, just doing everything right in and out of the octagon. This guy could be a big star for this company, and he just went out there and treated Eric Gonzalez accordingly. He was almost a minus 1,000 favorite by the time this fight closed, and he looked every bit of that. How high is this man's ceiling, Jose, especially after watching another tremendous finish tonight?
I mean, how high is his ceiling? It's a good question because he's in a very tough division, but I feel like as much of the as popular as Paddy Pimblett is, and as much as we get asked about Paddy Pimblett, if you look at their skill sets, Terrance McKinney might have a better background to have a longer and more successful MMA career in terms of wins and losses because he does come from a high-level wrestling background in the Northwest of America. But Paddy Pimblett obviously has the grappling, and he gets punched a lot. And Terrance McKinney also gets punched a lot. And his fights are also exciting win-loss, like you said. So I'm not going to say he's going to make as much money or be as popular as Paddy Pimblett because a lot of people are calling Paddy Pimblett like this next Conor McGregor. I'm not saying Terrance McKinney is that, but he's doing everything that Paddy's doing. He's just doing it without the Scouser accent and without Molly McCann next to him. So I guess Terrance McKinney, he could be this next big wave of lightweights in America that kind of takes the 155-pound division by storm. But in terms of his ceiling, in terms of wins and losses, he says he's going to be champion. He says, like, I'm going to be champion by the time I'm 30 years old or something like that. So I guess that's his ceiling that he has set for himself, being champion by whatever age he said. I don't think he'll get there by that date because it seems very fast, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I want to see him fight another guy like Drew Dober because all the guys that he's beaten, he should beat in the way he's beating them. I want to see it, like, outside of the Frivola win. That was nuts. What was that, like 7 seconds, something like that? Yeah. Let's give him another fight against a guy like Drew Dober, like just outside of the top 20, and then we can have a better answer. I would like to see him face a guy that can test him.
I have a tremendous answer for this question for on to the next one tomorrow, and I think it makes perfect sense. What did you think, AK? Terrance McKinney, I mean, the guy just continues to come out there and just kind of light the world on fire, and he's got his phone, like he tweets before he walks out, and then like 20 seconds after his post-fight interview, he's tweeting again. The guy's he's just fun to watch. He's fun to watch on social media. He's fun to watch inside the octagon, and he did it again tonight, AK.
I'm such a fan. Listen, I'm Mr. Let's not like talk up a prospect's chances, so early. I've poured the cold water on so many people we brought up, like Aaron Blanchfield, and even last week. Who was it last week? Who was it last week? There was someone last I'm like Mohammad Makayev. I'm like, oh, come on, guys, like, stop saying 2-division champion. I don't even know if he wins one title. Like, I'm the first one to pour cold water on these things. It helps that McKinney is a little bit older. He's 27. I feel like I have a little bit better idea of who he is just as a person, as a human being, and then just physically, what he is and his fighting style. So I'm a little bit more willing to kind of jump on, even though the level of UFC experience is similar to some of the other names that we've kind of like pushed really hard as future champions. So, but yeah, 4 fights, I've seen a lot of what I need to see. Even the Dober loss, the fact that he took that on short notice and really had Dober in a bit of trouble early, that says a lot to me. So I really think he's gonna clean up his game. I think there's going to be more losses to come too. Like if we're going with the goal of 30 years old and we're saying, I said like 2024, I could see him fighting for a title, maybe 2025. Again, he's 27 now, 30 is his goal. He's going to have loss in between too. I don't think he wins like necessarily the next 6 fights and just rushes to the top. He might win his next 2 and then get a top 7, top 8 opponent and lose that one. So I think he's headed down the right path. I think he has the right attitude about it. I love the confidence. Of course, everyone goes in the UFC thinking they're going to be champion, but he's kind of been able to back it up in a really substantial way. Just the way he goes after people. He says, I'm a finisher. I'm going to finish quickly. And that's what he does. Again, he almost did Drew Dober too. So we'll see. There's still a lot of evolving to do. Again, 18 months from now, I think we could see him as a very different fighter than he is now, but it's really exciting. I'm very high on his chances at being a UFC title contender at the very least. Eric Gonzalez, hey, listen, not a top 30 guy, not the greatest, most toughest guy in the lightweight division, but a very exciting performance, and we'll see if he lines something up. Guess that Paddy fight, man, it's not going to be in Madison Square Garden because Paddy Pimblett does not want to fight in New York. He's pretty much ruled that out, I guess, unless the UFC would have to pay him an exorbitant amount of money, and even then maybe he wouldn't want to do it even more. Because of the tax man, it's going to take a bigger chunk. But if he can get that fight somewhere, even if he has to go to London to get it, I mean, Terrance McKinney, jump on that because that would just be enormous for his profile.
Casey, we have I don't know if these are all the bonuses, but we have all the bonuses. If you want to hit the breaking news music, there we go. Fight of the night, the main event. Thiago Santos versus Jamahal Hill. Not 1, not 2, but 3 performance bonuses. Mohammad Usman, Geoff Neal, And Brian with a Y Battle gets it done. Brian Battle gets $50,000, as he should, because that head kick knockout was unbelievable. Now, his math skills and his phonics skills may not be up to par, but who cares? That kick in the face took away all of that. That was an incredible performance. So I thought we'd get more bonuses than that, AK.
Poppins.
Surprised we only got
Poppins
3
was
performance
robbed.
bonuses.
Poppins was
She should have
robbed.
definitely got a bonus.
The first Von
Flue
Blue
choke
by a woman in UFC history? What the? And also, what a statement they would have made if they gave a bonus to every fighter tonight for, again, only the second time in history, as you mentioned, that this has ever happened. Now, that would have UFC a lot of money, but they've got a lot of money. Can we say with confidence that the fight of the night and 2 performance bonuses like standard is pretty much over? I feel like over the last 2 months, we've had more cards that didn't follow that structure than have, right? Am I crazy? Because there's been like ones like fight of the night and 4 performance bonuses, and then there's one everyone who got a finish got a bonus with one of those cards. They've deviated from a little bit, as they should. Again, it really should get to the point where every finish gets a bonus. I don't think they'll ever do that, but that's what I would like to see. And certainly tonight, it would have been a really. And guess what? They could have rubbed it in the so-called media's faces, because they could have been like, "Oh, you guys thought this card was bad? Guess what? Every fighter got put on a performance-winning bonus. This is one of the best cards we've ever put on." That would have been a great statement to make, and most importantly, more fighters would have got some extra cash. So, it would have been nice. It would have been really nice for Poppins, for Myra, Bruno, Silva, everyone that got a finish tonight to get that 50 Gs. But oh well, at least the people who got it, I think, deserved it. I got no problem with it. But I would have at least done one more for Court McKenna. Yeah,
Spivak just ran over, man, who's very tough to finish. Like he's just. Sakai was just in there trying to stay in there, and Spivak just kept it coming, man. That was a great performance. That was a statement win for him, and he got on the microphone, like our commenter just said, and he begged for that bonus, and he didn't get it. So before you move on to the peeps, Jose, one more thing on Terrance McKinney. AK had mentioned it, so I'll get your thoughts on it. Terrance McKinney gets on the mic, and he calls out Paddy the Baddy. Says October 22nd, or we do it in MSG. I think MSG is like the perfect place for that fight. I do understand Paddy's hesitation, taxes, all that stuff. That's what you have to do as a fighter. James Krause has lived his life like that. If a fight is in a place where the taxes aren't high, he'll go. If it's a place where the taxes are high, he ain't going to fight there. So is this the fight to make, or do we need to keep these two apart for as long as possible?
I'd keep them apart until at least they're inside the top 15, because there's a lot of money to be made with these two. And I know I always talk about how like this is a sport and they should fight if the rankings matter, but for you rarely do strike lightning like this, where you get these two really exciting prospects who are really good on the mic and really good at social media, and they have a lot of fans, and they've just naturally become fan favorites just by being themselves, and they also happen to be very high level fighters. I would keep them apart till at least they're inside the top 15, because then it would be a much bigger deal. Now, at that point, Paddy might just become a mega star like that everyone knows, and then it might not make sense, so you risk that. But at the same time, if you give him Terrance McKinney now, I wouldn't be surprised if Terrance McKinney wins, and then you just lose the luster of Paddy Pimblett before he even fights a big name. So I would keep them apart. There are other names that they could fight, and I would still be interested in. And in maybe 2 years from now, when they're in the top 15 and they have a lot of wins and losses under their record, then it would be fun, just as fun, and it could make even more money. So keep them apart.
Terrance McKinney, I don't know how high his ceiling is going to be. Like, I don't know if this is going to be a guy who fights for the belt, but at worst, he's going to be like Gaethje-esque, Vicente Luque-esque, where he's like he'll be like must-watch television over the next couple of years. Like, just think of the fight. Like, just think like 2 to 3 years from now, like the evolution of McKinney's game when he's fighting guys like Fiziev, fighting guys like potentially Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler. Like, those fights, not now. You don't do them now, but like 2-3 years from now, when McKinney's like all that greenness sort of turns to gold. Oh man, like this is gonna be an exciting guy to watch. Like, he might not win the belt, but he's going to be a guy who's going to win a lot of bonuses. He's going to be on a lot of main cards. He might headline a bunch of fight nights. I'm excited to see where this guy goes. Just as much as I am excited to see what the peeps thought tonight. Let's go to the peeps, take some questions, get some thoughts on a very good card.
They're very
Card that
vocal.
over-delivered.
Thank you, everyone who's commenting. Everyone jumping in the comments. They're all welcome. They're all welcome, regardless of quality. Thank you, guys.
This card to me was like when I went and saw Anchorman for the first time, because I thought watching the previews of Anchorman was junk. I was like, oh, this movie's gonna be so stupid. And then I went and watched it. I'm like, this movie was hilarious. It was great. And this is not like 38, 39-year-old dad Mike. This is like 20-year-old idiot Mike, who it was just the right movie at the right time. And it just exceeded expectations.
And speaking of Anchorman, the UFC will be in the Wells
San
vagina
Diego
next week.
Okay.
Man,
we have to agree to disagree. I just watched that. I just watched it again the other week. All right.
There's a couple extra fights on that one. Angela Hill, Lupe Godinez is now on that card. Moving up 2 freaking months. Those two are just absolute gamers. Priscilla Cachoeira and Ariane Lipsky is on that card. Even though like it was it's the plan, but it's not 100% done yet. Looks like the Jason Witt, Josh Quinlan fight. There's a chance that it ends up on that card. It all depends on Jeff Nowitzki spoke with the media about what happened with Josh Quinlan. Very similar to John Jones. Nothing that's going to keep him out. Nothing that the Nevada State Athletic Commission they're not worried about him fighting outside of Las Vegas or anything like that. It was just something that was a precaution. They needed to do their research. USADA did theirs. He's clear. There'll be no suspension or anything like that. But Andy Foster is the gold standard when it comes to commission work. So he's going to just dot his I's and cross his T's. And once he does that, that fight will probably be added, but it's just not 100% added yet. Last night, it was like all systems go. And then apparently they were like, whoa, not so fast.
And that's what bums me out, actually. The UFC had 2 fights drop off. They didn't have to pay those fighters their full amounts. So there was extra money there. And there was all these freaking finishes tonight on a card that was really everyone shit on. And give some more money out. Give some more money out, UFC. So.
And again, Casey, they could have rubbed it in our faces. They could have like rubbed it in our face on multiple levels. One, our criticism of the card. They could have said, "Look, all the bonus." Plus, also, you say the media is always talking about fighter pay. Look at us giving money away. Look how gregarious we are. We're giving money away. Like UFC, you really could have stuck it. You really could have stuck it to us. You really could have stuck it to us and helped the fighters at the same time, and you missed out. What a missed opportunity. Give us hell, Quimby. Give us hell, Quimby.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Dana White walked up to the post-fight press conference with like an 8x10 framed photo and he turned it around? It was the one of you that was on that Bash the Media video.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just like, everyone's getting the bonus.
Hey,
this guy.
I didn't like this for your gymnastics skill, buddy. Like he could have stuck. What would I have said if he had given bonus to everyone? I would have said I could have nothing to say. It shut me right up. Instead, I'm here on this post-fight show talking and annoying all these people. But I want to read a comment from Max Rapkin, who said, if Fight Nights had crypto bonuses, tell me that Sam Alvey wouldn't have gotten that $30K bonus. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
for sure. He would have.
We didn't even talk about him.
Oh, what?
Okay.
Because that was the story of the night, because we saw a record. We saw MMA history tonight. Where were you where BJ Penn's record got broken?
So here, I'm going to be honest with everybody. It was right around this time where my whole day changed. Like, I felt fine. And then all of a sudden, like, after Sam Alvey got brutally knocked out, like, I felt like I now feel like I got run over by a Mack truck. I feel like super sick right now, and I'm sweating profusely. It's really bad. But it happened right after that. And Jose, let me start with you on this fight. I came into this fight with really, really tampered expectations. I try to be positive. I said Sam Alvey was going to have some moments in the first round. He might even hurt Oleg Zaitchek, and then Oleg Zaitchek was going to stop him in the second round after he survived it. But so I expected to be like somewhat sad, like roll my eyes a little bit, like enough is enough. But seeing how this played out and seeing his whole freaking family in the building, like everybody there, it was just really sad, man. Like it was way worse than I thought it was going to be, Jose.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It also didn't help that he barely made weight. So it was like, what was he, like 15 pounds over like 2 days before, 20 pounds over 2 days before, going back to middleweight? Like the days of, remember when Sam Alvey was just knocking people out? That was weird. That was a weird time in our lives. Remember he knocked out like Cesar Ferreira, and I was like, this is just that man just knocked out Cesar Ferreira, and now he has BJ Penn's record. Like, what a weird time in our lives. So yeah, but wasn't great to watch. Once they cut to his family, I'm like, well, I don't want to see that because I know what's about to happen, and I don't want to see his family right now.
This is it, right? AK, like this is it. We can't do this again, right?
No. Last fight on his contract, it would just be unreasonable. I don't care if he says, "Oh, I'll come back for half," and why would he do that? I don't think even Sam Alvey would do that. Last fight he fought it out. They let him fight it out. He said he got, he spoke to them before, like after that loss to Brendan Allen, and he thought he was already going to get canned, and he was just so happy they gave him another shot. And I think this is it. Like it's everyone went into this last fight with the best of intentions, I want to say, but. This is it in the UFC. Hopefully, I hope Sam Alvey has enough money to retire, and maybe this is it for him as a fighter. But I fully expect to see him in Bellator, Eagle FC somewhere within the next 12 months.
Remember, he beat.
You say Bellator? You think? Oh no way, Bellator touches this.
I don't know. He's got a name.
No way. No. Oh, we are talking about it. No, Bellator's not gonna
We're talking about him.
Remember when Sam Alvey beat Rashad Evans in Mexico City on the prelims?
Yep.
That was weird too.
Yep.
Now, if I will say this, if I don't want to see any more Sam Alvey fights ever again, but if there's one that can be made and it's like a guarantee, it's the final fight, you do the rematch with Rashad. Like I'm okay with that. Anything other than that, yeah, he fought Eagle FC.
Eagle FC. Yeah, you're right. Eagle FC.
Okay.
Yeah, those two guys, that's it. And Dave Feldman, here's a message for you. To paraphrase a very popular song, hey, Feldman, leave this man alone. Do not call Sam Alvey. Do not call his management team. Leave this man alone. You want to bring him out to sit cage side for a fight. You want to put him on the broadcast team. You want him to do backstage interviews. You want him to do in-cage interviews after the fight. Totally okay. But this man should not be competing in your ring. Don't do it.
You know who you should fight? He should complete the trilogy with Gerald Mearshart. 3 fights, 3 different promotions. Make it happen.
I actually don't hate that idea.
They're one on one. I know they're one on one.
It's got to be a 205 though. It's got to be a 205 though.
Because they fought. I want to say they fought like 5 years apart, and for like 2 super random promotions with like really funny. Because I wrote a story on Sam Alvey like years ago, and they were like hilarious promoter names. It was like Combat Iron Fist 43 or something weird like that. It was very regional MMA.
And listen, time frames might line up.
Sam Alvey fought in Bellator already, so he would be going back to Bellator. Sam Alvey has a win over Jason.
Sam Alvey took the loss in Combat USA.
Yep.
And then Sam Alvey got the win at NAFC Mega Brawl in May 2014.
Yeah, that dude is crazy. And I'm pretty sure
wait. Hey, can you say Mega Brawl one more time? Again, just say it.
Mega Brawl.
And I'm pretty sure that was like a situation, because I'm assuming this because I know he was the MFC champion. Shout out to our Canadian MMA promotions, and they were like, "Oh, you need another win to get to the UFC." So he just won an MFC and then took a fight like a week later against Gerald Mearshart, won, and then went and fought in the UFC, which I was at his UFC debut. Bangor, Maine.
No, he had to go on the Ultimate Fighter.
Sam Alvey? He was on the
that might have been before MFC. He was on the Ultimate Fighter, and he fought at welterweight twice. He actually weighed in at 170 twice.
He used to be a welterweight?
No.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he had never fought at welterweight before doing the Ultimate Fighter. So he did the reverse thing. You know, most people in the Ultimate Fighter, they fight a weight class up. So he did the opposite. He went to a weight class down and had to make 170 twice. Well, I guess once for going to the house and then once to fight in the house. Unsurprisingly, he lost in the first round because he looked very drained in his first fight. So he didn't make it past the first round. You guys can find that episode in Fight Pass. He looks almost unrecognizable at 170. It was not a good idea at all.
Was he smiling?
Of course.
Seeing middleweight Kenny Florian on the first season of Tough.
I love it.
Unbelievable.
So
and listen, the timing could work out because Gerald Mearshart is fighting next Saturday against Bruno Silva. So maybe the timelines could line up.
There's the trilogy, gentlemen.
All right. Let's talk about the very first fight of the card.
Myra Buena Silva versus Stephanie Edgar. What the hell? It was going to hell as the pre-show wrapped. They said the judges were not needed tonight. Not true, because the judges were needed in this fight, because it was very strange. If you guys missed it, there was an armbar. No one saw what happened. We thought Chris Tione was doing Chris Tione-like things. Turns out there was potentially a tap. He goes to the judges and they kind of like pull it, and turns out that there was definitely a tap upon all the different replays, and it was called correctly. So this is
Chris Tione did the right. I think it looked weird, but I think he actually did everything correct. Yeah, it was odd because of the positioning,
100%.
And there was no good camera angle, and it wasn't the UFC's fault. It wasn't anyone's fault. It's just that's just how fights end up sometimes. And Stephanie Edgar tried to pull a fast one. That's about it.
What you should do. You should try to do as much as possible. But sometimes if you cheat, you get caught. And this time it worked out. Silva, great job, great performance. Edgar's tough, was on a nice little run. And Silva went out there and did the damn thing. It was a strange start to this card, AK, was it not?
Yeah, and it was bizarre. And we were... Silva's reaction was bizarre. Edgar's reaction was also strange. I see Edgar taking a lot of crap for kind of not being more forthcoming if she tapped. I get it. But I think obviously she regretted tapping in the moment. And then I think when the referee's like when she saw the referee was confused, I think she thought like, oh, did he not see it? She's like, oh, he, and then so she didn't want to commit either way. She didn't want to suddenly like start protesting. She knew that she had tapped.
She tapped. Yeah.
That's why there was no, oh, what are you doing? No,
why did it tap?
So that didn't happen. But then rather than admit it right away, when she realized that she was being asked, she probably thought like, wait a minute, like just very like not in depth, but thinking like, wait, is this a no contest if I say nothing? Is this like how So I don't know if Stephanie Edgar meant to be like a terrible sport in that situation. Yeah, I guess she should have come out and admitted it. But I think she saw when there was all this deliberation over it, she's like, well, if they don't know they don't know yet, why should I say
was it just a couple weeks ago when the same thing happened with Lemos and Michelle Watterson? The ref didn't see the tap. But Michelle respected the fact. Lemos respected the tap, and Michelle just goes, "Hey, I tapped." And Edgar tried to pull a fast one. But yeah, sorry, Jose.
It's how Anthony Pettis won the title. Benson Henderson audibly tapped, and Pettis let go, and
let go before the ref even.
The ref was like, "What?" And then Benson was like, "Yep,
yeah,
I lost."
I lost.
Yeah.
Question though: if that ref didn't see it, or the ref goes, "I don't know." What happens then? Do they just restart the fight?
The judge they asked.
I'm sorry, if the judge asked.
I think at that point you have to go to a no contest. I think you just have to.
Why
some sort of weird
but that's insane to be a no contest. Why just restart from both standing and all right?
That's not fair to Myra Bruno Silva, because then why should she have to go back to standing when she arguably finished the fight? Like then that's not fair. That's not fair to her then. Right? The fight was called. The fight was called. You can't.
The fight was stopped. The fight was called. What do you mean the fight was called? It was
called. He stepped in and touched he touched the fighters, and that's
so
it.
He called the fight. He said the fight's over. The fight's over. You win. Silva wins.
But honestly, if he didn't see the tap, I don't think he can make that.
So what was he stopping then? If he didn't see a tap, what was he stopping?
Because she stopped.
She didn't stop anything.
No, Myra Bruno Silva let go. She stopped.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop the fight. That doesn't stop the fight.
But no, it's. Yeah, it used to be.
No, but the fight doesn't. The fight still. You can let go of a submission. The fight still goes on.
Yeah, but then he stopped the fight.
Yeah, but so why did he stop the fight?
That's the thing, and that's why I go to no contest.
Caught off guard and was just like, "Oh, I guess she tapped," like because Bueno Silva said she tapped, so then he walked in and was like, "She tapped," and then he waved it off.
Yeah, once he does that,
he just was caught off guard.
So immediately gave the win to Silva, and then he was just kind of checking it, making sure that it was Silva.
And then he asked Stephanie Edgar, and he goes, "Did you tap?" And her answer was silence. So then he was confused.
Okay. Yeah, because the replay rules that changed, you can restart a fight if you.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
before you couldn't. Now you can. There
you go, AK. Jeez.
The rules. I don't think rules. Oh, I don't think he would. Oh, okay, Mr. Rules. Apparently, you can just like let go of stop fighting, and the referee's just supposed to like acknowledge that. Come on now.
Yeah, you can. You don't have if you can put a submission and let go. The fight doesn't.
But you're wondering why the fight was stopped. I'm like, I think it's pretty clear why the fight was stopped. I don't think it's a mystery.
No. No. But that's what I'm saying. The fight. Well, no, it's not. It wasn't pretty obvious because if the fight was stopped, then the fight's over.
He started talking to the judges. He started like talking to the judges, and I was calling for a replay.
He did this. I guess that means. And you saw as soon as he did this, the judge like picked up a siren, like one of those orange sirens, and put it on the table. And I was like, "This is awesome. This is the best."
Yeah.
Finally, we get to use the orange siren.
People are asking, like, was this legal? Like, or was this right what Chris Tony did? And it's like, Aaron Bronstetter and I think Sean Sheehan both mentioned, this is actually something that they do. You if you're isn't kind of inconclusive, you have to poll the judges. That's the exact wording of it. And they were mentioned, like, it rarely happens, obviously at the UFC level or even at Bellator level, like major league level. Apparently, it happens on smaller shows, much more common on smaller shows, especially where they don't have so many cameras, right? So it's like on smaller shows, you kind of just have to rely on who's ever cage side. So this is they do have a mechanism for inconclusive kind of spotting finishes. So Chris Ione, pretty well handled.
A+.
Remember when they watched the replay when we were at that Denver card, Casey, with the Chaz Skelly, Bobby Moffitt?
Yeah, I remember.
They asked the replays for that too, and they like decided that he didn't tap, but like the fight was over. So it was something weird.
Yeah, I think Moffitt officially got the loss that night, but then it got overturned to a no contest.
No, Chaz Skelly got.
I'm sorry. Chaz Skelly officially got the loss that night.
That one was weird because it was overturned like a long time.
Yeah,
like a year later.
It was a long time.
Like I forgot. Like what? Oh yeah, I was there.
Have we seen a restart since they implemented the new replay rule? Have we seen them do a pause, call for replay, and then just reset?
I don't remember.
Happened. Shout out to the guys in the chat. If you guys remember in the chat, give us an example. But I don't think it's because it hasn't come up that many times for one thing, and then to actually get a restart, it has to be. It's a pretty difficult call to make. So I don't think we've seen it.
All right, thank you. All right, we kind of answered my questions, I guess.
Yeah, we'll take a couple more.
Cool. Yeah, we got some. Where is that question? I think it's Juju, not
Who's JoJo's first UFC fight?
Is that a trivia question? Who did Joanne Calderwood?
JoJo's had many UFC fights.
Yeah.
Juliana Miller. I mean, we have to answer this on to the next one, AK. I have my thoughts, but I will say in the Victoria Leonardo Hannah Goldie range is what I'm looking at. Nothing higher.
Yep.
Yeah, just
outside top 15. I think
she's got potential. She's obviously like her grappling is incredible. She's got a great personality. She can become something that people want to see, but you don't want to just throw her in there with. No. Yeah, you don't want to throw her in there with freaking Lauren Murphy right now. That's just a terrible idea.
Yeah, and if what's her opponent? Whose opponent's name I forgot? If Brogan won, she would have been in the same position too. You wouldn't. Yeah. It would have been somewhat around the top 25. I don't even know if there are other 25 flyweights. I'm not even sure. But around, the back end. That's all. I don't think there's any rush.
Don't they know for tough winners? Don't they usually match them up with like someone from the season almost?
Are they gonna sign anyone else?
Always. That happened to Brian Battle, but only because Brian Battle was supposed to fight a guy. Yeah, only because to kind of redo it.
That was supposed to be the final match.
When Luis Pena couldn't fight in the finale or something like that.
Also, I'll be honest, I don't know how many people from this season are going to get signed. If I'm,
do you think the UFC signs I don't know if to say his name Paga?
I would hope so.
At 205?
I think maybe. Yeah, he's not a big heavyweight at all. So for sure. Yeah, I think they keep him around, give him one more chance. But definitely, it's definitely a one fight. I think he's getting a 1 fight deal. You win, then they're going to give him a 4 fight deal. So it's tough when you don't win the 10 fight contract or whatever it is.
And I assume the UFC they usually sign the loser of the finale, no matter what, right?
Usually, there's been a few exceptions, but like usually,
But I would expect Brogan Walker probably to get one more fight too.
I think Usman and Miller we're gonna get signed no matter what.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should Thiago go up to heavyweight or be let go? He has lost 4 of his last 5 fights.
I don't think that's gonna help him.
Yeah, listen, there's still fights for him. He was.
Absolutely.
I mean, the fight was a little sloppy at times, but it was a pretty fun fight. Like the game plan was a smart one, and Jamahal Hill just got got the job done. So
Also, he literally only loses to people in the top 5 or the champion.
yeah. So listen, he's not. I don't think they're going to let him go. His name still has value, especially with like guys coming up in this division right now. You got to keep him around because a win over Thiago Santos still means something.
Absolutely,
I would be super interested in him going back to middleweight.
If he can do it,
he looked gigantic tonight.
Yeah,
he did.
Humongous. If he can get to 185, I mean, that's gonna be
because he only went to 205 because they needed like last minute fights, and he just kept winning until he fought John.
Yeah.
Yeah, he accidentally got a title shot by just taking short notice fights, pretty much.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
I think we've done well. Fight card overexceeded expectations, and we like when that happens.
Yeah, the pacing was not very fun.
No. What can you do though?
The actual fighting part, sure, good job.
I will say, I mean, I went to the Icon FC card last night in Savannah. I mean, it was just bang, bang. One fight ended, next fight started. Like 6-fight main card, we're out of there in like 90 minutes. It was pretty fantastic. But listen, it was a good night. Good night of fights. 10 fights, 10 finishes. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to Jamahal Hill for closing the show. AK, I'll see you tomorrow for some matchmaking. For AK,
feel better, Mike.
Jose,
feel better.
For EKC, I am Mike Heck. Good night, everybody. Go watch The Sandman.
Go watch The Rehearsal on HBO.